Now, I want you to imagine something, right? You're scrolling through social media and post after post, you've seen content that looks and sounds the same. And the reason why we're expecting this to happen more in 2025 is because AI is flooding the internet. Welcome back, C-Fam. It's 2025. It is the first podcast episode of the year. Today, I wanted to just start off just welcoming everyone back and also just kind of lay out what we're expecting for the year in 2025. Your content needs to stand out like never before. We're expecting major changes in influencer marketing. The creator economy is still growing. And that means that there's more opportunities for African and local talents to take a bigger slice of that pie. It's important to understand that you don't need to have millions of followers in order to be able to work with brands. As creators, we can bypass traditional gatekeepers. Brands that connect with customers in these ways are going to be able to dominate in 2025. So if you're able to target an international audience, there's a huge opportunity in that. It means more money being pumped in the creator economy, and that means more opportunities to monetize your work and to work with these brands. Welcome to 2025. Welcome back, C-Fam. It's 2025. It is the first podcast episode of the year. Last year was a year of amazing growth for us. We decided that we were going to switch things up in terms of the content that we were putting out. We did 2 episodes every month. We increased the production quality of those episodes. We got bigger guests. And as we did that, we also grew as a community. I just wanted to quickly stop by and say thank you for being a part of our journey in 2024. It's 2025. There's going to be a lot more growth and you'll start to see more engagements happening. We're going to be doing more educational content. We're going to continue the podcast and you're going to see a lot more in-person engagements that we're going to be organizing this year. So we're super excited to see you be a part of that. If you want to stay in the loop for that, please join the WhatsApp group. We're going to be sharing a lot of stuff that's happening in the group. And yeah, just make sure that you're a part of the community. Say hello to a friend, meet, network. Who knows what can come from it. Today, I wanted to just start off just welcoming everyone back to the podcast and also just kind of lay out what we're expecting for the year in 2025. As many of you know, the C.Cast and the creator community would not exist without JD Creations, which is our digital marketing agency. We were founded with the goal of connecting Africa to the digital economy and the world to Africa. And we do that by combining creativity and technology. There are going to be so many opportunities in the creative and tech world. And we wanted to take a moment today just to kind of show you where we were last year, what we did a bit differently, and where we see a lot of the opportunities lying in front of us for 2025. So this episode, we're really going to go into the goals for this year. We're going to go into how we're going to do things differently, where we see these opportunities lying, and how you can take advantage of these opportunities, whether you're a business owner, someone who operates in the marketing space, or if you're someone who wants to be able to start a business of your own and you're looking for opportunities in the digital world. This is the place for you to be because we're going to give you all the tips and all the tricks for 2025. So with that being said, let's get into it.
Okay, let's go.
Let's jump into 4 key trends that we expect to see in the digital space in 2025. Now, I want you to imagine something, right? You're scrolling through social media and post after post, you've seen content that looks and sounds the same. This is super overwhelming, right? And the reason why we're expecting this to happen more in 2025 is because AI is flooding the internet. People are using AI to generate content, whether it be social media captions, whether it be scripts for videos, whether it be images that they're putting out online. And that's creating a cookie cutter approach to content. So one thing that I love to use as an example of this is AI being used in copy. A lot of people are using AI to generate copy for their social media posts. And if you go onto LinkedIn, for example, you'll see how a lot of people are talking about tapestry, about elevating, about leveraging certain things. So these words are commonly used by AI. And that's just one example of how content is starting to look the same. What does this mean for you? It means that your content needs to stand out like never before. When you're using tools like AI, ChatGPT, Sora is now coming into the equation as well. It's super, super important to use it to create content effectively and quickly. But what we want to avoid is creating content that is uninspired and looks and sounds very familiar. So misusing AI is really something that we want to be wary of going into 2025. And the reason why is because if we are misusing the AI and we're kind of following its guidance instead of inputting our creativity and our context into it, then we're going to start finding that it's going to diminish originality, and that's going to stop us from being able to connect with our audience. Here's how you can navigate this going into 2025. If you're using AI as a tool to streamline repetitive tasks, it's probably good to use the extra time that you save from streamlining those tasks to creative and strategic thinking. Not only that, it's also good for you to really put your unique perspective and brand voice into the content that you're using the AI to create. This means that giving the AI instructions when it comes to the storytelling, the kind of tone of voice that you want it to use. There's different ways that you can do that. A lot of that is involved with prompt engineering. So I definitely recommend that you go and look at what prompt engineering is about and start exploring this AI from the sense of how do we use these tools to understand the context of our situations? Because if the AI can understand us as individuals, can understand our businesses as something that's unique and different, it's going to be able to create content and generate content that is unique to the essence of who we are and the businesses that we're running. An example of how we could do this, AI assisted workflows with personal anecdotes can be very, very powerful. Tapping into the cultural narratives that we have within Africa is also super, super vital, because if we can explain the cultural context and the narrative in which we operate into the AI and teach it that, it's going to be able to use that creatively in different ways that we're not going to see other people from all around the world using it in. Another way to look at this is to set up AI-assisted brainstorming sessions that always analyze and inject human creativity, right? So get the AI to ask you questions, get the AI to find out more about what makes you different. And that way you're going to be able to get content from the AI that's a lot more unique and stands out from the crowd. Trend number 2, we're expecting major, major changes in influencer marketing. Are you tired of seeing influencers promote products that they've clearly never used? Because I certainly am. And that's something we've seen in 2024. We're expecting influencers to continue this trend in 2025. The difference is that we expect that audiences that are watching this content and consuming it are going to stop falling for the fake, over-polished adverts and start rewarding brands and creators that actually keep it real. So this is what we call a trust deficit when it comes to the influencer marketing space. And what this means for you is that consumers are growing more and more skeptical of influencer campaigns. Why? Because they kind of feel staged and they feel over polished, they feel insincere and sort of like they're not real. And the reason why is because that's mostly the case. A lot of people are just doing these campaigns because of the money that they are getting paid, not because of the fact that they actually use the product or value the product. And that's starting to become more and more clear in the influencer marketing space. Brands that work with influencers, or if you are an influencer yourself, what's important is to prioritize authenticity and to build real connections with the audience that you're operating with. If you can do that, that's how you're going to be able to maintain the trust that they have with you and the connection that you guys have. So here's how you can kind of navigate that going into 2025. If you're an agency, it means partnering with smaller nano influencers who operate in a very specific niche and have a very highly engaged audience. Because that audience is smaller, it means that creator is going to be able to build deeper relationships with the people that are watching the channel. And that's something that we love about the community that we're creating, right? We don't have the biggest audience, but we're able to work with different brands because they can understand the connection that we have with our audience. And that's all because of you guys involving, being a part of the community, being a part of the WhatsApp group, talking in the community. I've been receiving messages from people on WhatsApp just talking about their experiences, asking for advice. That kind of stuff builds trust, it builds relationships. So that's why it's super important for us to connect with each other in the community space. And that's what we've been doing. And that creates really great relationships that offer value to brands. If you are an influencer, right, it's important to understand that you don't need to have millions of followers in order to be able to work with brands. The smart brands are going to realize this trend and they're going to hop on working with smaller influencers. So if you're starting out or if you have a smaller audience, this is great for you because it's going to create opportunities to work with these brands that are keeping up with these trends. And I just want to encourage you to keep creating. Don't create just for the numbers. Create for the impact, for the relationships that you're building. If you can do that, there's going to be a lot of value in that going forward. You don't necessarily need to have the biggest audience in order to be able to extract value from brands. An example of what this can look like when it comes to content, we can expect brands to collaborate with influencers that are going to document content that's more behind the scenes, that's more real, sharing honest experiences and reviews, learning more about people's stories. That's also why we've grown as a channel, because we talk about genuine, sincere stories from the guests that we have on our podcast. And I think that's really what's helped us grow and what's helped people connect. Take a lesson from that. See how you can connect genuinely. Tell stories that actually mean something. Share your own experiences. Be vulnerable. That's another thing, right? Be vulnerable in the content that you create because people can connect with that vulnerability. We don't need to keep on putting on an acting as though everything's successful, everything's going okay. That's not real. We're all going through different challenges. If you have the courage to share those challenges, it opens up a space for people to connect and to feel safe, to trust you. So don't be afraid to open up in that way. Another actionable tip for brands, if you're going to be working with influencers, you want to vet the influencers not just by the amount of followers they have, but the type of engagements that they have with their audiences. And if you can align that audience with your brand values, you can create really, really impactful influencer campaigns going into 2025.
Hey, hold on. I just need to remind you very quickly to like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment down below about what you think about this episode. We need to be able to tell the algorithm on YouTube that we are creating content that is valuable. So please engage with this content, whether you're listening to it on YouTube or on Spotify or whatever platform, please engage. It just helps us reach more people, brings more people into the community, which means more access to knowledge and opportunities for you, a member of the community. So please don't forget to engage on this video or this audio podcast and leave a like, comment, or subscribe and give it a share. Thank you so much.
Trend number 3, the creator economy is still growing. I was reading a report earlier on talking about how 93% of brands this year are reporting that they are going to either increase their creator budgets or increase the role of creators in their overall strategy. What does that mean? It means more money being pumped in the creator economy, and that means more opportunities to monetize your work and to work with these brands. These brands also shared that 41% are investing at least half of their digital marketing budget on creators and influencers. And this means that there's going to be more and more money plugged into the economy. And that means that there's more opportunities for African and local talents to take a bigger slice of that pie. As creators, we can bypass traditional gatekeepers. As long as you have an audience, you're putting out content that offers value, there will be people out there that are willing to pay for that value, whether it be through the social media platforms that you're posting it on or the people that are consuming your content. There are people out there that are willing to pay. And if you're able to reach an international market, the fact that you're putting out your products in rands makes you extremely competitive, because it's very, very cheap for those audiences to be able to invest in your content by purchasing that product or service from you. So if you're able to target an international audience, there's a huge opportunity in that. An example that I want to mention right now is Tozi, who was on our podcast last year. He is a DJ. He loves music. He loves technology. So he created DJ courses that he's offering online. And a lot of people have purchased those courses. And he's been able to sustain himself as an independent creator over the last year. He just recently bought a new car. So he's really doing well. There's major opportunities in that space. If he can do it, you can do it too. Think about how you're going to be able to connect to those international markets. I think what's important for us as creators and as people in the digital space is to think about what makes us different, right? In South Africa, we have very unique and authentic stories and perspectives that people overseas aren't necessarily aware of. How do we tap into those unique cultures and experiences and export it to the rest of the world? As someone who has experienced it and grown up in South Africa, there's ways to do that. We just came off from a Kate Renata concert. He was tweeting about how it was one of the best experiences and how people need to come to South Africa to experience the music scene here. So we've got a lot of people that are really putting us on the map. We've also got Tyler, especially in the music space. There's ways that we can leverage that. Let's talk about what's happening in the music space here. Let's talk about the different dances, our culture, food. This can be expanded to so many different industries. We just need to be creative in terms of how do we make that accessible to an international market. And if we're able to do that, we can then monetize that market and bring economic value back home. So really think about how you're going to leverage your niche expertise, things that maybe not everyone knows or understands overseas, and that can attract international subscribers. What kind of unique exclusive content or services can you offer, whether it be a workshop, maybe personalized advice? What are people overseas going to value? Do they want to learn more about Amapiano culture? Do they want to learn more about how to dance? There's so many different ways that we can tap into this. How are you going to package that as a service or content? That's what you need to be thinking about as a creative if you want to be tapping into those international markets. An example of someone else who's also doing this, there's a South African artist named Sandile Kwaba out there. He creates toy figurines that are Afro-inspired. You don't necessarily see a lot of Black toy figurines in the market. So he's created something unique, something different, and a lot of people overseas have been buying his stuff, and I've been seeing his business growing over the last few months. That's just one example of how to export what we have here to the world. How are you going to do that is up to you. Where you can start is by identifying what is your niche, what is your target audience, what are you good at, what do you enjoy, can help you figure that out. And then how are you going to use platforms like TikTok and Instagram to build awareness and then funnel those audiences into your subscription-based services or in the products that you are selling. If you can get that right, there's a major, major opportunity there. Trend number 4, I want to ask you another question. What if your audience could try your product virtually before they buy it? Or what if they could chat with someone that feels like a human that answers the questions that they might have before actually buying it? What I'm expecting to see in 2025 is a lot more interactive marketing, finding ways to connect with customers in a different way that allows them to interact with you as a brand is going to be super, super vital in terms of differentiating yourself in the market. Brands that connect with customers in these ways are going to be able to dominate in 2025. So what does this look like? What does this mean? With advancements in technology, what's happening is the barrier is lowering and lowering, meaning that access to augmented reality, virtual reality, chatbot technologies, interactive experiences, these are all becoming way more accessible and becoming way more mainstream, which means that you can learn how to tap into these technologies very easily and provide value through it that differentiates brands from other brands that they're competing from. Consumers are also going to expect a lot more in personalized and engaging interactions rather than static content. For example, this piece of content, it's a static piece of content. Once it's recorded, it's going to be out there. It's never going to change. And it's not specific to each individual person listening to this. But one example that we can tap in to make content more dynamic and less static is to look at how do we create content that's more engaging. Something that I'm going to be tapping into a lot more going forward is live streams. Being able to talk live with the audience, figure out what questions do you have, what more do you want me to explain, what's your story. That's going to create a deeper connection with everyone who's watching these podcasts. So keep an eye out for those live streams, and please definitely join so that if you have any questions or you want to find out anything specific to what you're challenged with, I will be able to answer those questions for you live. Being someone who can see this opportunity, who understands what I'm talking about, how can you leverage it in order to be able to progress what you're busy with? Number one, chatbots. Chatbots are such an easy way to get to be able to engage with your customers. If you are selling a product that requires a lot of questions to be answered, that requires information to be shared, chatbots are a great way to be able to provide tailored recommendations and to create an interactive storytelling relationship with your customers. The other one is, how do you incorporate AR and VR into your product demonstrations, right? Or virtual tours? If we could follow the example of what's happening in the property space, a lot of agents are taking the houses that they are marketing and they're creating virtual tours of those markets. Another thing that you can do is if you're selling furniture, for example, it's now possible to be able to scan that furniture product that you're selling, create a 3D version of it, and allow users on your website to be able to access that 3D version, to look at different angles of it, to see how it looks in different settings, different environments. These are all things that are now accessible and available to the average person. There's tools out there that enable you to do that. And if you're able to do that for your products, or if you're going to provide that kind of service to someone else, that can create a major opportunity for you to leverage this technology in the creative space to be able to offer value and be repaid for that value in the form of remuneration. Keep an eye out, look at any low-cost interactive tools like chatbot builders, 360-degree video creators, any object scanners. See how you can create content around that, and you can potentially find opportunities to monetize that content. So yeah, those are our 4 key trends that we're expecting in 2025. Just to run through them one last time. The first thing that we are expecting is AI is going to continue creating opportunities for the small guys to compete against the bigger guys in the market, which is going to be super exciting to see how that plays out. Number 2, there's going to be major changes in influencer marketing. Don't forget that the trust deficit is going to be a major factor in 2025. Number 3, the creator economy is still growing, creating opportunities for creators, big and small, to create value and to get a slice of that pie that is ever growing. Number 4, we really want to see how we're going to be able to take advantage of the lower barrier to entry when it comes to virtual reality, augmented reality, and AI, and how can we use that to create interactive and immersive experiences for our audience. That's going to create major opportunities for anyone who's entering the space. And that's what we're going to be focusing on as a digital marketing agency in 2025. And I hope there's some sort of value in this for you, whether you're a creator, business owner, or anyone who's in the marketing space. If you want to be a part of our community where we share this information on our platform, where we also create a space for people in our space to share their stories and to find out more about who's doing what when it comes to connecting Africa and the digital economy in the world to Africa, please join the creator community to get access to insights, resources, and opportunities, and to engage with us in 2025. It's going to be an exciting year, and I want to once again thank you for being here on the journey. I'll see you on the flip side. Cheers, cheers.
Thank you so much for watching this latest episode of the C.Cast. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe. We're trying to achieve a huge mission and we need you to invest in it. The best way to do that is by liking, sharing, and subscribing, and leaving a comment down below. By doing that, you help the algorithm understand that we are offering content that is valuable and it will reach more people. There might also be someone out there that just wants to learn a lesson or who might be able to take something away from the podcast. Share it with them. And lastly, if you would like to be more involved in the community, if you want access to opportunities, knowledge from our experience in the digital marketing space, or to connect with other people who are like-minded and uplifting the continent, starting businesses and using tech and creativity to make them successful, join the WhatsApp group by scanning the QR code and we'll chat with you there. Until then, bye.
This year has been a busy year, but now I feel like I'm up. It might as well be load shedding at Gold River City and just stay there.
We're out here today. We're doing a little bit different. How was the year? What are we saying?
It was like this chicken strip.
You should have seen when first ChatGPT came out.
Like that taste.
I don't know where this metaphor
I was waiting for it. I was about to say box.
I saw an opportunity in social media. I was like, damn, but actually, I can actually do this.
People might blue tick you, people might not watch, but you're like, someone's gonna watch. If this person rejects your proposal, the next person will accept. So don't take it personal.
What has been the most groundbreaking AI tool that you've used this year?
Yes, I know Elon Musk is doing some things, but yeah, honestly.
Let me not say anything.
Are you freaking out? Are you scared?
Bro.
You're making a choice out of fear. You're not thinking rationally.
Like breathe, take it easy.
As a human being, get
Yeah.
out of your comfort zone.
Yeah,
You want
and
to grow as a human.
the things that used to kill you before, now you're killing them a lot easier.
Once you finish that race, don't stop there. Continue going because there will be other opportunities out there. The marathon continues.
That emotional side is like something that's become so difficult. It's the end of the year, so we decided, you know what, we're gonna end off with a bang.
It's festive, December. Hey, that's a conversation of someone who just got mad.